I came home early from school that Tuesday. Parent-teacher conferences had been cancelled at the last minute because of a burst pipe in the West Wing, and Principal Martinez sent us all home by noon. I was actually excited about it. Marcus had been working from home all week, and I thought maybe we could have lunch together. Make up for all those late nights he'd been putting in lately. The apartment was on the 14th floor of a glass tower in downtown Seattle. We'd moved here 2 years ago when Marcus got promoted to VP of Product Development at his tech company. Left everything behind in Portland. My teaching job, my family, my friends. But that's what you do when you love someone, right? You support their dreams. I used my key quietly, not wanting to startle him if he was on a video call. The living room was empty, but I could hear voices coming from his home office down the hall. I smiled, setting my bag down on the kitchen counter. I'd wait until his meeting was over, maybe start making us some sandwiches. That's when I heard Sophia's laugh. My best friend. My college roommate. My maid of honor. What was she doing here? I stood frozen in the hallway, my hand still on my purse strap. They weren't being quiet. Maybe they thought I wouldn't be home for hours. Does Emma suspect anything? That was Sophia's voice, casual, almost amused. No. Marcus laughed. She trusts me completely. She has no idea about the prenup clause. My heart stopped beating. I pressed my back against the wall, afraid to breathe, afraid to move. The money should clear into the holding account next week, Marcus continued. Once we transfer it to the offshore LLC, she won't be able to trace it even if she figures it out. Which she won't. Sophia again. Emma's sweet, but she's not exactly financially savvy. She signed those tax documents without even reading them. My hands started shaking. The floor seemed to tilt under my feet. I have to hand it to you, Marcus said. This was your best mark yet. How did you even know about her grandmother's trust fund? Please. Sophia's voice was smug. I've known Emma since freshman year. She used to talk about her grandmother all the time. I just had to do some digging after the old woman died. Found out about the trust fund through public records. $2.5 million, just sitting there waiting for the right person to claim it. The right people, Marcus corrected. 50-50 split, remember? Of course. Though David deserves his finder's fee too. Setting up those shell companies wasn't cheap. I couldn't move. Couldn't think. My best friend. My husband. They were talking about me like I was a job. A transaction. A mark. When do we make our exit? Sophia asked. I'm thinking another 2 months, Marcus said. Let the funds fully clear, make sure there's no audit trail. Then I'll tell her I got a job offer in Singapore. She'll probably want to stay here, try to make her marriage work long distance. We'll drag it out for 6 months, then I'll file for divorce. By then, the money will be so buried she'll never find it. And our little story about reconciling after my bad breakup worked perfectly. Sophia laughed again. She actually thanked me for introducing her to you. Said I was the best friend she could ask for. Something inside me cracked. Not broke. Cracked. Like ice over a lake, spreading out in 1,000 directions, but not quite shattering yet. I backed away slowly, carefully, my shoes silent on the hardwood floor. Made it to the kitchen. Picked up my purse. Walked out the door I'd entered 5 minutes ago. Took the elevator down 14 floors. Sat in my car in the parking garage and threw up in a Starbucks cup. Then I started the engine and drove to the only person I could think of. My grandmother's attorney. Robert Chen. No relation to Marcus, thank God. He was 72 years old, had handled my grandmother's estate, and had known my family for 40 years. If anyone could help me, it was him. His office was in an older building in Capitol Hill, the kind with real wood paneling and thick carpets. His secretary showed me in immediately when she saw my face. Emma. Robert stood up from behind his desk, concern filling his eyes. What's wrong? I told him everything. Every word I'd overheard. My voice didn't shake. It was like I was telling him about someone else's life, someone else's nightmare. When I finished, he was quiet for a long moment. The documents Marcus had you sign, he finally said. Do you have copies? He said they were at his accountant's office. For tax purposes. Robert's expression darkened. Emma, I need to tell you something about your grandmother's trust fund. She set it up specifically to protect you. The terms stated that the funds would be released to you on your 30th birthday, which was 6 months ago. But there was a clause. If you were married at the time of release, your spouse would need to sign a separate waiver, confirming he had no claim to the inheritance. My mouth went dry. The tax documents. I'm going to guess they weren't tax documents at all. Most likely, a fraudulent prenuptial agreement backdated to before your marriage, or documents transferring your power of attorney to Marcus. Did you sign in front of a notary? I tried to remember. There was a woman there. Marcus said she was from his accounting firm. Do you remember her name? I closed my eyes, forcing myself back to that day, 3 weeks ago. Marcus had been so sweet about it, apologizing for the hassle, promising to take me out to dinner afterward. Diana, something. Diana Ross? No, that's not right. Diana Reeves? My eyes snapped open. Yes. How did you know? Robert's face hardened. Because Diana Reeves is a notary who lost her license 2 years ago for fraudulent certifications. She's also David Brennan's sister. Who's David Brennan? A man who's been investigated 3 times for financial fraud. Never enough evidence to charge him. He specializes in setting up shell companies and offshore accounts. Robert leaned forward. Emma, your husband and your friend didn't just decide to steal from you. This was planned, probably from before you even met Marcus. The ice cracked a little more. Can we stop them? My voice came out as a whisper. We can try. But I need to know exactly what you signed and where your money is right now. He pulled out a legal pad. Tell me everything about your relationship with Marcus. Start from the beginning. So I did. I met Marcus 2 years and 3 months ago at a friend's birthday party in Portland. Except it wasn't a friend's party, I realized now. It was Sophia's party. She'd insisted I come, even though I was exhausted from a long week of teaching. She'd practically dragged me there. And Marcus had been there, charming and handsome in his expensive suit. He'd made a beeline for me the moment I walked in. I'd thought it was fate. Chemistry. Love at first sight. It was hunting. We dated for 6 months. Fast and intense. He swept me off my feet with expensive dinners, weekend getaways, constant attention. Sophia had encouraged it the whole time, pushing me to move faster, commit harder. Don't let this one get away, she'd said. Guys like Marcus don't come around often. She would know, I thought bitterly. She'd dated him before me. We got engaged after 6 months. Married 3 months later in a small ceremony. My grandmother was too sick to attend, already in hospice with late-stage cancer. She died 2 months after my wedding. I'd been devastated. My grandmother had raised me after my parents died in a car accident when I was 8. She was my only family. Sophia had been there through all of it, holding my hand at the funeral, helping me sort through my grandmother's things. Marcus had been supportive too, patient with my grief. I thought I was so lucky. To have a husband who loved me, and a best friend who understood me. They'd been playing me the entire time. Your grandmother died 7 months ago, Robert said, checking his notes. The trust fund was released to you 6 months ago. And Marcus had you sign the documents 3 weeks ago. So, they waited. Made sure the money was actually there before making their move. Exactly. Which means the funds might still be traceable. He picked up his phone. I'm calling a forensic accountant I work with. We need to find out where your money went, and fast. The next 3 hours were a blur. Robert made call after call, pulling in favors, reaching out to contacts. The forensic accountant, a sharp woman named Karen Liu, arrived within 30 minutes and started pulling financial records. By 5 o'clock, we had answers. None of them good. Your money was transferred out of the trust account 4 days ago, Karen said, showing me a spreadsheet on her laptop. Moved through 3 different LLC accounts, all registered to addresses that don't exist. The final transfer went to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands yesterday. Can we get it back? That depends. If the money's still sitting in that account, yes. If they've already moved it again or converted it to crypto, it gets complicated. She looked at Robert. We need to move fast. File an injunction. Freeze the accounts. Get a court order. Today. I'll start the paperwork now. Robert turned to me. Emma, I need to ask you something difficult. Are you willing to press charges? Against Marcus and Sophia and whoever else is involved? Because that's what this will take. Criminal fraud charges, not just a civil suit. I thought about Marcus's laugh when he called me his mark. About Sophia's smug voice as she mocked my trust. About 2 years of my life, carefully constructed lies. Yes, I said. I want them arrested. Good. Then we need evidence. Recordings, documents, anything that proves they defrauded you knowingly and intentionally. I thought about what I'd overheard. I didn't record them today. I was too shocked. That's okay. We can work with financial records and the fraudulent notary. But if you could get them on tape admitting to the scheme, it would make the case airtight. Robert hesitated. It would mean going back home, acting normal, pretending you don't know anything. My stomach turned over. For how long? A few days. Maybe a week. Just until we can gather enough evidence and coordinate with the district attorney's office. I closed my eyes. The thought of looking Marcus in the face, sleeping in the same bed, pretending everything was fine while knowing what he'd done. What they'd both done, but I thought about my grandmother. She'd survived the Depression, raised a daughter alone after my grandfather died, then raised me after my parents were gone. She'd worked 2 jobs to put my mother through college, then helped put me through college too. She'd saved every penny of the trust fund for me, wanting to make sure I was taken care of after she was gone. And these people had stolen it. Had stolen her love, her sacrifice, her legacy. Tell me what to do, I said. Robert and Karen spent the next 2 hours coaching me. What to say, what not to say, how to act natural. Karen set up a recording app on my phone that would automatically upload to a secure cloud server. Robert gave me a small recording device disguised as a pen to keep in my purse. Don't confront them, Robert warned. Don't let them know you suspect anything. Just try to get them talking about the money, about their plans. Can you do that? I nodded. Even though my whole body was shaking. By the time I left Robert's office, it was almost 7. I'd texted Marcus hours ago, saying I'd stopped by the mall after school. He'd responded with a casual okay and a heart emoji. Like he hadn't spent the afternoon plotting to rob me blind with my best friend. I drove back to the apartment building, parked in my usual spot, took the elevator up. My hands weren't shaking anymore. The ice inside me had stopped cracking and started hardening into something else. Something cold and clear, and absolutely focused. Marcus was in the kitchen when I walked in, cooking pasta. He looked up with a smile. Hey, babe. How was school? Good. I set my purse down carefully, making sure the recording pen was positioned correctly. Conferences got cancelled, so I went shopping. Didn't find much. That's too bad. He stirred the sauce. Sophia stopped by earlier. We grabbed coffee, talked about her new job. The lie came so easily to him. So smooth, so natural. Oh, that's nice. I opened the refrigerator, pretending to look for something. How is she doing? We haven't talked in a few days. She's good. Mentioned maybe we should all have dinner this weekend. Sure. That would be fun. We ate dinner together. Made small talk. He asked about my students. I asked about his project at work. It was like any other Tuesday night, except I was recording every word and imagining how he'd look in handcuffs. After dinner, Marcus got a call and went into his office. I cleaned up the kitchen, my mind racing. I needed more. Needed him to actually say something incriminating. I waited until he got off the phone, then knocked softly on his office door. Hey, I said, leaning against the doorframe. Can I ask you something about those tax documents you had me sign? His expression didn't change, but I saw something flicker in his eyes. Sure. What about them? I was talking to another teacher today, and she mentioned something about spousal liability for taxes. I just want to make sure I understood what I signed. I kept my voice casual, confused, not accusatory. Marcus relaxed slightly. It's nothing to worry about. Just standard stuff to protect both of us. Why? No reason. Just want to make sure I'm not going to get in trouble with the IRS. I laughed, trying to sound ditzy. You know how I am with financial stuff. I barely understand my teacher retirement account. He smiled, indulgent. That's why you have me, babe. I handle all the complicated money stuff. You focus on your kids. You're right. I pushed off the doorframe. I don't know what I'd do without you. The words tasted like poison, but I said them with a smile. Over the next 3 days, I played my part perfectly. Sweet Emma, clueless Emma, trusting Emma. I asked more questions about the documents, always framed as innocent confusion. Marcus gave me vague answers, half-truths wrapped in condescension. Sophia came over for dinner Friday night. She hugged me at the door, told me how great I looked, complimented my dress. We drank wine and laughed about college stories. Marcus ordered Thai food. And the whole time, my phone was recording in my purse. Emma was just asking me about the tax documents I had her sign last month, Marcus said casually, passing the pad thai. Sophia's eyes met his across the table. A split second of communication. Oh? She turned to me. Everything okay? Yeah, I just wanted to understand them better. I poured more wine, playing up the slightly tipsy act. Marcus says they protect both of us, which is good. I mean, with my grandmother's trust fund and everything. Right. Sophia nodded. It's smart to keep finances organized. Especially with inheritance money. How much did you end up getting from that? Marcus asked. You never really told me the exact amount. My pulse jumped. This was it. The opening I needed. The lawyer said it was around $2.5 million, I said, keeping my voice light. But I haven't really looked at the account since he released the funds. I should probably check on it, right? I can help you with that, Marcus said quickly. Actually, I've been meaning to talk to you about investment strategies. That money could grow a lot if we invest it properly. We? Sophia laughed. Isn't it Emma's inheritance? Well, yeah, but we're married. What's hers is mine, right? He squeezed my hand across the table. Community property. Not quite how it works with inherited funds, Sophia said, and there was an edge to her voice now. A warning. Marcus caught it. Changed tactics. Of course, babe. It's your money. I just want to help you make smart decisions with it. I smiled at him. I know. Thank you for looking out for me. The conversation moved on, but I had it recorded. Marcus admitting he considered my inheritance his money. After Sophia left, I excused myself to take a bath. Locked the bathroom door, and texted Robert. Got him talking about the money. He said what's mine is his. His response came immediately. Good. DA wants to move Monday. Can you stay safe until then? I looked at myself in the bathroom mirror. My face was pale, eyes too bright. I looked like a ghost. Like someone who'd died 3 days ago and was still walking around. Yes. I texted back. The weekend was endless. Marcus was attentive, affectionate. We went to brunch Sunday morning, walked around Pike Place Market, acted like a normal couple. He bought me flowers. Told me he loved me. Every word was a knife. Sunday night, I couldn't sleep. Lay in bed next to him, listening to him breathe, wondering how I'd ever trusted this person. How I'd shared my life, my body, my dreams, with someone who saw me as nothing more than a paycheck. Monday morning, I told Marcus I had a dentist appointment before school. He kissed me goodbye, told me to have a good day. I drove straight to the courthouse. Robert was waiting in a conference room with Karen, 2 detectives, and an assistant district attorney named James Walsh. They had everything laid out, financial records showing the fraudulent transfers, statements from banking officials, my recorded conversations, evidence of Diana Reeves' notary fraud, a paper trail connecting Marcus to David Brennan and Sophia. This is solid, Detective Morrison said, reviewing the documents. We can arrest all 3 of them today. 4, Karen corrected. David Brennan is the architect. He's done this before. We'll coordinate the arrests simultaneously, the other detective said. Marcus at your apartment, Sophia at her workplace, David and Diana at their homes. We don't want anyone getting tipped off and running. I nodded, feeling numb. Emma, James Walsh said gently. You understand you'll have to testify? This will go to trial. Your marriage will be public record, dissected in court. The defense will try to make you look complicit or stupid. Let them, I said. I'm not hiding. By noon, it was done. The detectives arrested Marcus at the apartment. He'd been in his office, probably moving more money around. They caught him logged into the offshore account. Sophia was arrested at her marketing firm, walked out in handcuffs in front of her colleagues. David Brennan was picked up at his house. Diana Reeves tried to run, and got caught 3 blocks away. I watched Marcus's arrest from a police car parked across the street from our building. Watched them lead him out in handcuffs, his face confused and then angry when he realized what was happening. He looked up at one point, and I think he saw me. Our eyes met across the distance. I didn't look away. The case moved quickly. The evidence was overwhelming. Marcus's lawyer tried to argue that the prenup was legitimate, that I'd known what I was signing, but the forensic analysis of the documents proved they'd been backdated and forged. Diana Reeves rolled over immediately, gave a full confession in exchange for a reduced sentence. Sophia tried to claim she didn't know Marcus was married when they started planning the scheme, but we had her text messages discussing me by name. David Brennan fought the hardest, but his previous investigations came back to haunt him. The pattern was clear. The trial lasted 3 weeks. I sat in that courtroom every single day, listening to them dissect my marriage, my trust, my naivety. The defense attorney called me careless, financially ignorant, a wealthy heiress playing at being a teacher. I let him talk. Because in the end, the jury saw what mattered. 3 people had conspired to defraud me through fraud, forgery, and manipulation. They'd stolen my inheritance. They'd stolen 2 years of my life. The verdict came back guilty on all counts. Marcus got 7 years for fraud, theft, and forgery. Sophia got 5 as an accomplice. David Brennan got 10, and his record of previous investigations counted against him. Diana Reeves got 2 years probation. Karen managed to freeze the offshore accounts before the money moved. I got back almost all of it, minus legal fees and court costs. $2.2 million. My grandmother's legacy, recovered. I filed for divorce the day after the verdict. It was finalized in 3 months. I never saw Marcus again after the sentencing. Didn't want to. I quit my job at the Seattle school. Moved back to Portland, closer to the family and friends I'd left behind. Started teaching at my old elementary school. They welcomed me back like I'd never left. I used part of the inheritance to set up a scholarship fund in my grandmother's name. For kids like me, who'd lost their parents. For young women starting over after divorce. For anyone who needed help rebuilding their life after it fell apart. The rest I invested carefully, with help from a financial advisor Robert recommended. This time I read every document. Asked questions about everything. Learned the language of money and contracts and protection. I go to therapy every week. I'm learning that what happened to me wasn't about being stupid or naive. It was about being targeted by professionals who made a living out of exploiting trust. The therapist says I'm not broken, just healing. Some days I believe her. Sophia's sister reached out to me 6 months after the trial. She wanted to apologize, said she had no idea what Sophia was doing. I met her for coffee. Let her say what she needed to say. I don't know if I forgave Sophia, but I let her sister's guilt go. It wasn't hers to carry. I haven't dated anyone since Marcus. Haven't wanted to. The thought of trusting someone like that again makes my chest tight. But I'm working on it. Learning to trust myself first. To listen to the ice cracking before the whole lake collapses. A year after the trial, I got a letter from Marcus's lawyer. He wanted to appeal, claimed new evidence. I sent the letter to Robert, who handled it. The appeal was denied. Marcus serves his full sentence. I keep one thing from that time. Not the marriage certificate or photos, or any of the lies. I keep a copy of the trust fund document my grandmother set up. The one that says the money is specifically for me. To help me build a life after loss. She knew. Somehow, she knew I'd need protecting. Even from beyond the grave, she was taking care of me. I look at that document sometimes, when the nightmares come back. When I wake up in my apartment hearing phantom voices plotting in the next room. I read the words she wrote. For my granddaughter Emma, who has already survived so much loss. May this help you build something beautiful. I'm trying, Grandma. I'm building something. Not beautiful yet, maybe. But mine. Solid. Real. I teach second grade now. 23 kids who look at me like I hung the moon. I read them stories and teach them math and help them tie their shoes. On parent-teacher conference days, I stay late and answer every question and listen to every concern. And when I drive home at the end of the day, I don't freeze in the hallway anymore. I walk through my own front door into my own quiet apartment that no one can take from me. The ice inside me finally melted. What's underneath is stronger than trust ever was. It's knowing. Knowing I can survive betrayal. Knowing I can fight back. Knowing that being kind doesn't mean being foolish, and loving someone doesn't mean losing yourself. Marcus tried to take everything from me. My money, my grandmother's love, my faith in people. He almost succeeded. But here's what he didn't count on. I'm the granddaughter of a woman who survived the Depression. Who raised children alone. Who built a life from nothing and protected the people she loved, even after death. That strength runs in my blood. He never saw it coming. And in the end, that's what saved me.